Welcome WrestlingFigs.com. Tim Ash here with none other than legendary Bret the Hitman Hart. How you doing today, Bret?
I'm doing really good.
Now you're out here at Comic-Con. It's a crazy scene. You got to see the panel today of all the fans that were there asking questions. We're here. You got to see the autograph line. WWE fans are out in droves. I want to get your opinion of Comic-Con and what you think about it so far.
Well, I was the last Comic-Con. I was maybe 2001, maybe, or somewhere in there, maybe 2000 even. And this is by far, it's multiplied several times since then. So, and I thought it was pretty huge back then, but it's amazing how just how much stuff is out there to see.
Now, being WrestlingFigs.com, I'm a huge wrestling figure collector, so is a lot of people on the boards here. Do you collect wrestling figure stuff? Do you have a collection of you and others as well?
I used to collect all the sets of wrestlers. I had the very first WWE or WWF collection with the rubber dolls that are about that big.
Yeah.
I have that whole set, every single one, including Slaughter and Snuka and a lot of guys that didn't get certain ones that weren't sold.
Right.
But I got that whole set, and then I have the Hasbro collection. I think I've got every single one of them.
Wow.
I did try to get some of the dolls after that. I've got random ones here and there of different dolls, but you know, it's such a cool thing. You know, for me, as a kid that grew up with wrestling and was in love with wrestling right from the time I came out of diapers. I mean, I wrestled with forks and spoons at the dinner table. I wrestled with butter knives. I wrestled with beer bottles. I mean, I used to play with so many things, and I think back to how I wished I had some of these figures. I mean, it's so much fun. A wrestling action figure is could do everything that a wrestler does. Like, it's like you could really recreate wrestling. And even yesterday we were talking about if you took some of these wrestlers that don't have actual in-ring psychology,
Right.
sat them down at a little chair and table with a little ring and gave them the two action figures and said, "Here, show me the match that you want to do." I don't know. I learned a lot building and creating matches with forks and cowboys and Indians and every other little thing. I mean, I can only imagine what I could have done with the figures that they got today.
That's pretty interesting. Now, listen, they are doing a Legends line, and they're coming out with every once in a while. You know, I would like to see a Stu Hart. I would like to see a Hart family. I mean, I would like to see some Stampede Wrestling guys. Has Mattel talked to you about that at all?
Not at all. They've talked to me about a few different things, but nothing to do with Stampede or anything like that. I would love to see my dad, you know, brought back to life in an action figure. Make
cool.
all the other dolls run.
Yeah, exactly. He'd stretch them. Of course, Chris Jericho, of course.
Corner them in the corner and talk to them. You know, but I think it's important for any wrestler, same with the Hall of Fames and such, that, you know, it's important to be remembered for what you did. And my father left a huge footprint on this business.
Oh, yeah.
And I just hope that whether it's an action figure, I don't know about that, but I would love to see it. But even with Owen, for example, and Bulldog, and I hope they never fade from memory. I hope that we always remember, you know, so many of the wrestlers that are not around.
Well, so many great wrestlers came from your all's den, you know, the dungeon. I mean, you got Chris Jericho, you got Benoit, you've got you've got the British Bulldog. I mean, so many. And I would love to see a Hart family collection of that, and then maybe go on to Stampede, because I'm an old Stampede Wrestling fan. I mean, working at OVW when I was there, Ohio Valley Wrestling, before, you know, they took the talent away to FCW, that's what we did. We watched the videos of Stampede Wrestling. I had Nick Dinsmore and Rob Conway and those guys. Actually, they were watching the videos of how you all used to work in the ring. And that's a big compliment to you guys to go back that far to be able to see that. You know, and I think that would be a great opportunity. So we need to put a forum up and let them know, hey, we need to see some more wrestlers like Owen and the guys from the dungeon there.
I think in most things in wrestling, the wrestling fan is the one that dictates policy. And if the wrestling fans want Stampede Wrestling dolls, they'll get wrestling dolls for them. They cater to what people want, and so it's all what people want. And I would love to see more of that, more of just for me, that the nostalgia era is so always important to remember the Mr. Perfects and the Rick Rudes and the Brian Pillmans and so many of the guys that are not here anymore. You know, even Macho Man. You know, I'd love to see a new figure commemorating what he stood for.
That was one of the things they did today. They showed a list of what they want the fans to see, and they had Elizabeth up there. I think Elizabeth would be a good addition just to the Randy. But as far as wrestlers themselves, I mean, they had Magnum TA, they had Andre, they had guys like that. In your category, besides Owen and Bret, who else would you like to see up?
Oh, I would love to see Dynamite in there for sure.
Yeah, most definitely, yeah.
Dynamite, you know, even Bad News Brown.
Yeah, Bad News. Yeah. You had some good feuds.
Yeah, we had some knockdown dragouts. But a lot of those kind of guys, I would love to see. You know, even somebody like Rick McGraw. I don't know if that he'd be important enough, but some of those kind of guys. Yeah, just like we were talking about a minute ago, you don't hate to see people forgot and people don't remember what they contributed. And there's so many guys that are not around anymore. It's nice to, you know, I put a Macho Man doll up on one of my shelves in my house, and it's still there. And it's like, you know, it's a good reminder. Right. You know, even if you don't play with dolls, it's nice to.
Yeah, it's just a reminder. It's just that reminder. Right. Now we saw today or this past week that Triple H is kind of taking over the company. It looks like. I mean, it's kind of like he's wearing a suit now. Now that you just partnered back with WWE not too long ago for the DVD collection, are we going to see you coming back to WWE more, or, you know, what is your role in the future as we go forward?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know what exactly the future holds for me as far as WWE goes, but we've been sort of getting reacquainted with one another, and we're on pretty good terms. They call me up and ask me what I would like to do, and they're pretty flexible with me, and they've been really good with me since I came back. And you know, the truth is, I don't want to be on the road too much. I don't want to be tied down to my suitcase like I was years ago. But when they call me up and say, hey, we got an idea, maybe you can show up at the pay-per-view or blah, 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 or you show up on Monday Night Raw, I usually listen to it, and it's usually something fun that would be good for me and good for the fans, and I'm happy to be part of it. In saying that, though, I do think that I got a lot to contribute to wrestling still, as far as mentally.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I was always a great matchmaker, and
well, your ring psychology was great.
I think I had good psychology, and I think I could help a lot of the wrestlers that might maybe need it, and I hope that maybe somewhere down the road they'll approach me about being more involved on that level. But you know, it's hard to say, because maybe in doing that I'd have to leave Calgary and go live in Connecticut or something like that, and that's not so easy for me to do. So there's things that need to be you know, explored between the two of us. But in saying that, I think that I'm having a good time and having fun being involved with a few things that I've done. And if you told me 5 years ago that I was going to win the U.S. title in Toronto, I wouldn't have believed it. And if you told me I was wrestling Vince McMahon at WrestleMania, I wouldn't have believed it. If you told me I was going to shake Sean's hand and forgive everything that happened, I wouldn't have believed it. And if you told me I'd be sitting at a press conference with Triple H sitting right beside me, joking around with me, it's like, you know, I think if there's anything to be learned from all that, is that it's always better to find a way to forgive and move on. And I feel very lucky that you know, the effort that I made to sort of reach my hand back and shake hands with some of these guys that I had falling out with is it's turned out to be very good. And I feel that there's some sincerity on everyone's part, and I think they appreciate me coming back. And maybe now I think there's a little, in hindsight, they look back and realize that maybe I was important enough to remember. And